A judge has now ruled the NFL had no right to increase Rice's suspension based on no new facts. The judge felt Rice had been open with Goodell from the beginning about what had happened. Because of the ruling, Rice is now eligible to play immediately for any team that will sign him.
Let's make it simple. Ray Rice will play in the National Football League again. This season or next, he will have a chance at redemption, such as perhaps not the case for the man who punished him, leading a sport loaded with more double standards and backroom dealings than an old-time Chicago politician. Let's welcome back to MidPoint the CEO of Horrow Sports Ventures and the man who started and remains the top expert in the business of sports, Harvard Law School graduate, syndicated commentator, better known as the sports professor, and an old friend. Rick Horrow joins us today. Rick, pleasure to talk to you again.
I am continually impressed with your colorful lead-in language. It certainly baits the hook. How are you, my friend? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? Did you eat a lot?
Had a great Thanksgiving. Did not eat a lot. Ate just enough to get through the weekend and enjoy a few football games and move on from there.
Wow, because you look pretty good, man. You got to make sure that you continue to stay that.
You're right, Rick. I'm a tremendously good-looking man. It's wonderful of you to notice that, and everybody.
That's one of the few things we can agree on.
Let's see if we can agree on something else here. Is the biggest issue to take from the entire Ray Rice incident at this point, not that Roger Goodell might have lied, not that they might have not asked the right questions, but that this is a league right now that simply is the emperor with no clothes on parading down the street. They have pretty much been shown, once and for all maybe, that they will cover up anything in order to keep their brand nice, safe, sound, and profitable.
Well, that's one way to look at it, I guess. The maybe less cynical, although I'm not going to ascribe, way to look at it is that there needs to be some certainty, transparency, clarity as far as process goes. The brand requires it. Visa, Campbell Soup, Anheuser-Busch, Procter & Gamble, and the companies that, in Anheuser-Busch's case, spend $200 million a year requires it. And so Roger Goodell and Judge Barbara Jones are exactly aligned. They both say that they need a policy that is consistent and not arbitrary. Roger Goodell says he's going to get to it. Barbara Jones says he hasn't yet.
But he says he's going to get to it when I think you and I both know this is a system that needed something like this, an arbitrator, a long time ago. And they've been shoveling a lot of this under the rug for a long time here. They were pretty much exposed. So doesn't any of Roger Goodell's promises now fall on deaf ears?
I think not. If it comes up with a clear, consistent policy with Lisa Friel and her experts involved in creating it. Remember, we also have the Robert Mueller report, which everybody seems to forget is supposed to identify when Roger Goodell saw it. Did he see the tape? When did he see it? Who got it at the NFL and what was happening? That masks the bigger issue. The bigger issue is for all sports, if you have a commissioner ruling on the discipline of an individual player, is that appropriate? And how do you deal with it and make it consistent? I know it's a subject of collective bargaining, Ed. We've talked about that before, and we've also had discussions about the NFL Players Association being involved. We can't wait for the collective bargaining cycle. That's too much time. It's got to be something that everybody buys off on, and if Roger Goodell decides to give up some power in the context of eliminating some controversy, maybe this is the time to do it.
Well, wait a minute. You just said there about a minute we have, and then we'll take a break, come back and talk a little more, but you just talked about giving up some power. Any doubt in your mind that Roger Goodell's role as commissioner is going to change and is going to have to undergo some sort of metamorphosis simply because I don't know if people think they can trust him anymore?
Well, I'm not sure of that motive because I've worked with Roger for a long time, and I want to emphasize that I find him to be a very honorable, very trustworthy guy. I really do. I think the point right now is that the policy needs to be created, and there needs to be a perception of fairness, and maybe the way to do that is to open it up and have a few more people involved in it, even though when you look at the other leagues, they have their staffs do it, and the commissioner doesn't do it directly. So maybe there's something to be learned from other sports.
I do believe that Ray Rice is going to play again. Indianapolis and New Orleans, apparently two teams that reportedly have had some interest here. Do you think he will play this season, or the teams will simply wait, let it die down, go into training camp next year?
I had a bet with Christine Brennan, who is a good buddy of mine. The USA Today is a sports columnist, and she says that if whoever is right, she thinks he's going to play. I don't. and the winner dresses up in some kind of mascot suit and parades out in front of the stadium. So I want to make sure that that I believe he will not play this year. Next year, by the way, is an entirely different story, and they've got a lot of time. Every team has a lot of time to do some spin work between now and next year.
Christine's an old friend of both of ours. I can hardly wait to find out the result of this bet because I want pictures. That's all I want.
I'm not
Stand
telling
by.
you. I'm not telling you.
No, you won't, of course. Stand by. Rick Horrow returns after the break. We spin to the dangerous trickle-down effect of football concussions and the political statements the NFL would rather avoid. And at 51 minutes after the hour, hear them speak and bellow from the Sunday talk show pulpits right here on MidPoint.